Yes, people, what's happening? And welcome back to the channel and welcome to the opposition preview for the big one Sunday. Tottenham versus Chelsea at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Two teams in contrasting fortunes. Enzo and Maresca can't do anything wrong. Ange Postecoglou right now can't seem to do anything right. You don't know what you're going to get from Tottenham. They do well against the big teams, but they don't beat the teams that they probably should do. Another defeat against Bournemouth last night. Fans potentially turning against the gaffer now as well. It is a big contrast, but delighted to be joined by Savva, mate. It's been a while since we've caught up. Pleasure to have you on the channel once again. Before we get into it, mate, how are you?
I'm really well. I'm very, very well, thank you. Football aside, but even then I'm okay because I'm kind of used to this now. But yes, I'm very well, thank you. Apologies. As soon as we finished, I'm off to get a haircut. So apologies for the mop, but lovely to see you again. And it's been too long.
Yeah, mate. I mean, let's talk Spurs to begin with then. And obviously, over the summer, you spent money. You signed some exciting talents. Obviously, Lucas Bergvall arrived. You had obviously Archie Gray coming in, Odegaard from Burnley, who's obviously is injured at the moment. And big money spent on Dominic Solanke. I had a lot of Spurs fans over the summer saying, "Oh, do you know what? Yeah, Tottenham had a great transfer window." And I've been watching your content, mate, and you and others are saying that you're not addressing the areas you needed, and that's obviously looking quite true right now. I even got Ange himself saying we need attacking reinforcements in January. So when you look back at the window, Savva, do you think that maybe the transfer window in the summer has kind of set you up for this not very good start of the season?
Yes and no. Yes and no, absolutely. I thought it was, I think on one channel I said I gave the transfer window a 2 out of 10. I thought it was horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous. You've signed one senior pro. And by the way, one senior pro who's had one good year, Charlie. We're not talking about a striker here that's had 5 seasons in the Premier League of knocking in 25, 30 goals. He's had one good year of 19 goals. Everything else he scored in his career has been down in the Championship. So when we look at it from that point of view, that for me was underwhelming. I'm really underwhelmed by Solanke. Not by the way he's playing. I expected that, but the signing underwhelmed me. And for 60 million, it was just like Richarlison all over again. It's like Spurs go and chuck a big wad of money at a player, and for 175 million, what we've managed to come back with is Richarlison, Brennan Johnson, and Solanke, and it beggars belief. But look. It's bad when you look at it like that.
Mate, do you know what, mate? I'm pleased that you because we were sort of linked with Brennan Johnson, and then you boys done us a favour and paid that 50 mil. And I think I'd much rather have the Pedro Neto who cost 51.
Look, I think the thing is with Brennan Johnson, right? He's got one. He's good at one thing, and he ghosts into the box, back post, scores tap-ins, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is he's playing out wide right. And he can't beat a man for love nor money. He's not a winger. So he's yet another footballer that Big Ange, and I'm sure we'll talk about him, is not playing right. But off the back of what you said there, Charlie, when you look at the rest of that transfer window, we had Spurs fans losing their minds that, oh my God, Archie Gray is generational. And Bergvall's the greatest thing out of Sweden since Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And then Odegaard, again, people going, oh, he's an Ange player. And none of them play. And when they do, they play wildly out of position. It's a mess. It's a tragic mess.
Do you know it's funny, Savva, because like I've been in this position the last couple of years where everything's been a mess. The ownership's has not been stable. Managers not doing well. Dreadful football, dreadful results. Not qualifying for the Champions League 2 seasons on the spin. Would it be fair to say, mate, that obviously this fixture last year, right? We were coming into it not playing well. Poch under quite a lot of pressure. You boys, I think, were top of the league. You were unbeaten in your first 10 games. Is it fair to say, mate, that since that defeat to us at your place last season, it's never really picked back up again? Because your form over the remainder of the season from that defeat to us didn't really do very much. And then you've not started this season particularly well either. It's almost like all the way back then, things haven't really picked up.
Mate, I think that the thing is, the interesting choice of words you've used there in terms of picked up. Look, for me, I just think he had the greatest new manager bounce of all time.
Yeah, fair.
Bounce, right? 8 wins, 2 draws. And listen, you know me, Charlie. I was one of the ones at the time saying, calm down. You know, it's 10 games, and everyone's going, we're in a title race.
Yeah,
We're
Spurs
gonna
title
win
race,
the
mad.
league. And then when we weren't, it was, oh, well, it's not Ange's fault. Like, well, no, we're just not good enough. Since then, it's been, I mean, I could reel off stat after stat, but it would bore the hell out of you. But the last kind of 12, 13, 14 months since that game, I think it was like the 3rd of November or something when you something like that. Since that game where you beat us 4-1 at the Lane, we've not won back-to-back away games. We've lost 18 games in that 12 months. We've lost 9 games at home. We've only managed 4 away wins. And our points total since that game would have us 11th in the Premier League. And people keep trying to convince me that he's doing well and we're going in the right direction. It's a project. Mate, he's not picked up. The tactics are absolutely diabolical. Charlie, I would rather have you with your fresh ego hat on in the dugout.
I might be able to do something. You never know.
Mate, well, this guy can't, so you might as well. Yeah, it's just an utter mess, mate. The whole thing is a mess.
I mean, when you look at how Tottenham play, like it's obviously it's a high line. There's a lot of space in behind Porra and a Dogi. You don't really have wide players that, from what I've watched anyway, you don't really have wide players that hold the width. And there's not really an outlet at the top end of the pitch. Now, if you contrast that to what, even just tactically, with what Maresca's done, right? In such a short, I'm not saying this is like the finished article and he's not going to, things might fall off. They absolutely might. But I'm amazing from someone like Mauricio Pochettino, who is an experienced manager, established, and has had a reasonably successful career in the game, right? The difference from what he was doing to what Enzo Maresca's come in and done, and this is someone with 1 year's experience managing Leicester City. He's come in, clear identity, made big decisions. Doesn't matter what sort of player you are, what you've done in your career. If you don't fit what I'm doing, see you later, you're gone. And then you come in, clear style of play. And look, I remember in pre-season, we weren't very good. We were shipping goals left, right, and centre. Celtic battered us. Man City battered us. We lost to Real Madrid. Like, we lost a lot of our pre-season matches. We come into the season now, and we're playing good football. The players, are buying into the ideas. And every game that we play, it's like there's something different tactically in every game. Against Southampton the other night, right? He didn't like the first 15, 20 minutes. I think he called over Madueke, Palmer, and someone else. Guys, the press man-to-man is crap. He dealt with it in the first 15 minutes, pulled him to the side, and then that wasn't an issue again for the rest of the game. Like, it's so refreshing to have in-game management, which we didn't have with Mauricio Pochettino.
Sorry, what's that? What's in-game management?
Yeah, and it seems like you boys just don't have that at all. I mean, I know it doesn't feel like it has developed, but what are the differences between the Tottenham of last season to the Tottenham of this season? Do you actually think you're worse than you are at this point last year? You're worse.
We're worse. What it is it's kind of like a false positive narrative, if that's such a thing. And I'll explain what I mean, because we are one of the league's top goal scorers. I think that I want to say Chelsea.
Yeah, we are now top scorers now. I think you're second, mate. Or you might be second. You're second or third. You're in the top 3.
Yeah, right. So Chelsea have 31, Liverpool 29, and then Spurs and Arsenal are on 28.
Yeah.
So we've scored goals, but the problem is, Charlie, is that's what we're good at this year, but we score them in batches. So when we've done well, it was 4v City, 4v Villa, 4v West Ham. But if you actually look at a lot of our games, we do struggle to get more than one goal. Now, is it better than last year? Well, this time last year, after 14 Premier League games, we had 29 points. This year, we're on 20. So we're 9 points worse off. This time last year, we'd won 9 games. This year, we've won 6. So we're 3 games worse off. This time last year, we'd lost 3. This year, we've lost 6. For me, everything is going backwards. Everything is going backwards. And the thing you just said there, and I know my tongue-in-cheek comment about what is in-game management, I hate that when I've watched Chelsea, and I work on Big Up the platform bigup.com as well. And I do a lot of watch alongs that aren't Spurs. It's just kind of my safe place to rest away from Spurs and just watch games with I don't care who wins or loses, right?
Yeah.
And when I've done the Chelsea games on there, I always say, and people get annoyed with me, they're like, oh my God, you're a traitor. And oh my God, you went on a Chelsea channel and said something nice about them. Oh, Savva's twerking for Chelsea.
It's so tribal, isn't it? It's mad.
It's absolutely childish. So this will be clipped, but someone will clip this because they're childish and idiots. I went anyway. When I watch Chelsea play, I've said this. You might be able to tell me if I'm wrong. You'll let me know. This is your club.
Yeah.
But when I watch Chelsea, if I compare Spurs to Chelsea, we kind of play in a similar fashion in terms of how the game starts, like tactically. However, Chelsea, for me, seem to have two fullbacks that actually defend and then want to go on the outside, offering overlaps, right, for both your wingers.
Yeah.
You have two centre-backs that don't play on the halfway line in a horrendous high line. You've got the two blokes. You can tell me if I'm wrong about any of this in a minute. You've got two guys that sit in front of the back four. One as your more defensive midfielder in terms of Caicedo. Enzo in terms of he wants the ball a bit more at his feet to start things off as a deep line playmaker. Your wingers, from what I've seen, hug the touchline. They're actual wingers that want to get the ball.
They have to. They have to hold the touchline, yeah.
And then that allows the icing on the cake that is Cole Palmer to have all the space in the middle of the park so that when he gets the ball off of Caicedo and Enzo, he goes, right, I've got a runner right, Sancho. I've got a runner left, Neto.
And Jackson makes so much movement. That's the thing. Like when I watch Tottenham, Savva, I don't see if the ball gets picked up in midfield, there's no width and there's no movement ahead of the players. So you're almost like you get it and like, well, where are you supposed to play it? Like there's no options are being offered. Like for us, it's great, you know, because Maresca, again, in terms of tactical adaptability, mate, like. He tried inverting the fullback like into that number 10 space when he wasn't playing Enzo and when it was Lavia in the team. That wasn't really working. Tried that for 2 or 3 games. That's not working. Stopped it. And now he's got Enzo playing really well. You know, he's probably in the best form that he's been in at Chelsea since he first came. And I look at the signs of a good manager. So like pretty much every player this season has improved except Robert Sanchez. So I'm looking at like pretty much the whole team has improved. I look at Tottenham and I think, what players have actually improved? Who's better right now since Postecoglou come in than before? Has Son got better? I don't think Son's any better than he was.
Son's regressed massively.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like no players are really improving. And I look at Chelsea and I think that the improvement's not going to last forever, by the way. But like players are improving, and each week we're getting better. And as a fan, as long as you're seeing improvements, you can be happy with things. But I look at Tottenham, I just think. Nothing's improving and nothing's changing. Like people talk about Tottenham's game last night, right? Oh, we got players missing. I've watched Tottenham with their full strength team and put in performances like that. So it's got nothing to do with the players that are missing. Like, you know, you had no Van der Ven and no Romero at Man City, and no one mentioned that. But when you don't have them in a game against Bournemouth and you lose, that's suddenly the problem.
Hang on,
it's mad.
You know what? Look, I don't think you guys are the finished article by any means. Do I think you're in a title race? I think it's 1 year too soon, if I'm honest.
I would agree, yeah.
But your manager for me, and the thing I keep saying about Ange, I want a normal manager that understands tactics, that looks at things and adapts. I want a manager that says, do you know what? What have I got in this squad? I tell you what, I'm going to play square pegs in square holes. I'm not going to do square pegs in round holes. I'm not going to try and reinvent the wheel. And what I like about Maresca, I don't think he's coming in. I don't think he's trying to be a Pep. I don't think he's trying to be a Klopp. I feel like he's just going, right, I'm going to be a normal football manager that is getting the best out of everyone, playing them in their right position. And I'm not saying we can't beat you. I mean, there's a chance we can beat you. The way we're playing, I would doubt it. But you guys look organised. You look organised. And again, in the summer, Spurs fans looking at Chelsea going, Fernandes and Caicedo are shit and Badashile shit and this player shit. And then you're looking at it now, people are going, oh, yeah, but Chelsea got better players than us. Hang on. In the summer, we were talking about how crap you lot were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I got these terrible players. Like everyone's a waste of money. Do you know what the funniest thing about Chelsea is now, right? Is that no one's talking about ownership rifts. No one's talking about anyone's price tag, and no one's talking about anyone being flops. And it's almost like, do you know what? These players were actually good that we did sign. It's almost like players need a little bit of time to adjust to a new team, a new manager, and a new way of playing. And like, I look at this squad, and I'll be honest, Sarah, like I was having doubts, over the last couple of seasons under Graham Potter, under Pochettino. I'm thinking, are these players actually as good as what we've been promised? They are. But then when you actually have Maresca coming in, you've got a manager with an idea and someone who's got good man management skills and has got us playing good football, and you suddenly realise, like, you put a bit of structure around these players. It's like, oh, actually, do you know what? These are decent players. It's just we lacked that structure. We lacked a manager that had maybe personality, lacked a manager that was like, I don't know, maybe connected with the club. Like, you look at like Potter and Pochettino, right? This is a small thing, but actually goes a long way. Never once did they ever come and clap the fans at the end of any games. Never. They were just straight down a tunnel. Maresca does it every single game. And we're 14 games in now, the fans are singing his name and they absolutely love him. Like, it's that connection thing. He's already found a connection with the fan base. And like, I know that might not sort of transfer onto the pitch, but those things are so important. It's massive.
Hang on, Charlie. It absolutely translates onto the pitch. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the videos that are going around about what happened with Ange and the fans last night.
Oh, yeah, he was getting battered.
Right? It absolutely matters. We've got Ange going on. So look, I mean, Ange's quotes I got in front of me when he's saying, basically he doesn't care what the fans think of him. Well, you should care, mate, because the fans are telling you that they don't. Look, I think Maresca's coming. I think I've not seen him say anything stupid in press conferences. He kind of just gets on with it, and he is making you guys a good team again. And if I'm not wrong, again, you'll tell me. If I'm not wrong, you've lost 2 games, and that was only to City and Liverpool this season.
Yeah, City on the opening day and Liverpool away, where I know we lost, but we actually played all right. We probably should have got a point from that. Yeah,
but you've lost 2 games in 14. If you actually average that out over the season, and I'm not saying it's an exact science, that's not a lot of defeats. It will end up being about 6 or 7 defeats across the season. And for a manager that's coming in, and this is what I want to see. When people tell me, sorry if I'm venting or ranting, I'm just so pissed off.
Mate, enjoy. Enjoy.
I keep hearing, oh, he's only been here 18 months. Well, in 18 months, I expect to see us. Look, I always do this, Charlie, so I apologize. I don't expect him to come in and we go, phew.
Yeah.
I do expect over 18 months to see a slow, incremental increase, right, in where we're going. But we're doing that. We're doing that. We're getting worse and worse and worse. We got 1 win in 6, 4 away defeats, 4 away wins in a calendar year. It's, Charlie, honestly, it's so bad. And yet he's got this following. These people.
Is there a bit of a cult?
Oh my God, is it a cult? They love him. I don't know what he's done. I don't know what he has done.
But what do you think, Savva, it would have to take for him to be replaced? Because obviously right now you boys are sat 10th. I know like the table is still reasonably tight. You're 10th on 20 points and 4th is Man City on 26. So, okay, already there's a 6-point gap between you and Champions League football after 14 games. You've lost as many games as you've won this season. 2 questions, mate. Firstly, I know some of the fans turned against him last night against Bournemouth, but what is the sort of the general feeling around him with the fan base? And secondly, what do you think it would take for him to be moved on before the end of the season?
Look, listen, I can't speak for the entire fan base.
No, but just like sort of the kind of a general feel.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't speak for the fan base. I can't speak for the fan base. It is fractured. It's almost like you've got 3 schools of thought. You've got people that are, this manager is crap. He has to go. He is tactically awful. That's my bucket. All right. I'll hold my hands up. I'm in that bucket. I've been in this bucket for a year. I think he's shit. You've then got people in the middle that are like, well, is it his fault? he's not doing well, but it is Levy and the signings and that bucket. By the way, you could be whatever bucket you want. I'm Charlie, you've met me.
Yeah,
You've seen me live on camera. I don't need anybody else to back my opinion up. I'm comfortable in my own opinion. So I'm not telling anyone what to believe. But then you've got the other bucket where nothing is Ange's fault. Nothing. He's a brilliant manager. You don't understand him. All the new fans that now support Spurs in the last 2 years, you don't understand him. He's going to turn you into winners. The players aren't capable of playing his complex style. They're not, and they love him. They would give him a 25, 30, 50-year contract. And this is why we're all very fractured. And whichever one you believe, we all fight our corner. I fight my corner with my facts and evidence. Other people go, oh, but blah, 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 and they've got their feelings and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, what would it take to get rid of him? Look, there are some fans saying, well, and I'm not saying this, by the way, they're saying, when we lose to Chelsea, I'm not saying that, I'll get clipped. Some people are saying, when we lose to Chelsea, if they batter us, he'll go. I still don't.
I don't see that at all, mate. Look, even if like whether you're battered or whether you lose, whatever it is, right? Even if you lose, say you lose like 2-3-0 or whatever, he's not going anywhere. You know, it's going to cost Levy quite a lot of money to get rid of him, and I guess you've always got to have an alternative to come in. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Savva, right? I know that Ange is obviously tactically, I think he's been worked out a little bit. The results aren't there.
Tactically redundant.
How much of this is the manager's fault and how much of this is above? Because you've been for a lot of managers now, Conte, Mourinho, Nuno, etc. Now we're on to Postecoglou. How much of this is the manager's fault and how much of this is, you know, Levy and co above?
Yeah, great question. Let me throw the question back at you. When you say how much of this, how much of what? I mean what's going on the pitch, because what's happening on the pitch is obviously that responsibility lies with Ange, but in terms of the backing in the transfer market and whatnot, that comes down to Levy and others. So, I mean, it's never entirely one person's fault. A football club is always a collection. But do you think this is more on Ange than it is on Levy and co, or do you think it's maybe a fair split? Look, there's plenty of this pie to go around, John.
Yeah.
this is the world's biggest pie, and we're handing out slices all over the place. Ange gets a huge chunk of it. Levy gets the biggest chunk of it, right? Lang, our director of football, who Villa must be laughing at us. We took from Villa. He gets a huge part of it. The players, they get a huge part of it. Look, I guess it depends on what we're talking about, Charlie. So, for example, a lot of people, when they hear my opinion of Ange, they'll go, well, which manager are you sacking? Which manager are you bringing in that will win trophies? And I'm like, well, hang on. That wasn't actually my debate.
Yeah.
I've never said, Charlie, that you could I've said you could bring in Klopp or Pep. We're not winning leagues, right? Because we don't back them enough, right?
Yeah.
My issue isn't who we bringing in to win things. My issue is when I look at the tactics and I look at the players we've got, are we good enough to be in a top 4 battle? I think we are.
I would say yes. I would agree. You spent £65 million on a centre forward. Like, that's got to be enough to get yourself in a top 4 battle.
Absolutely. Are we good enough for that? Yes. Now, are we good enough to go the next stage and challenge the Liverpools and the Cities? No, we're not. But are we so bad with personnel that we should be losing 18 games in a year? Are we so bad that we should only be winning 4 away? We've not won 2 back-to-back away games for 14 months. We've won 1 in 6. Our points over the last year take us 11th. So, Ange, for me, should he have us up there? No. Should he have us down here with all these terrible facts? No. So, for me, Levy is the overarching problem. Him and Enoch are the overarching problem as to why other fans always take the piss out of us, because we're not serious. You know, we had that We had that 2-3 year spell, didn't we, where we finished behind you guys, we finished behind Leicester, and it was Poch's got us. But in the grand scheme of things, no one really thinks we're that great. We're not a massive concern to them. But the tactics are not on Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy does not play inverted fullbacks. Daniel Levy does not play without a defensive midfielder. And I've been Daniel Levy out. You saw my rant at the William Hill thing.
Yeah. It's for ages, mate.
Levy out since October 2007. Okay. But you have to turn around and sometimes say, a manager is not good. If a manager's not good, they're not good.
Yeah.
For me. And thanks, Billy, in the chat. Savva may as well support Chelsea. Oh.
But you know what it is though, right? Like Savva, like you look at it, you can see that something's not working in terms of Ange, right? But I always look at it, right? If something's not working with a manager, do I think my manager, have I seen enough evidence to suggest that this manager can reinvent the wheel slightly, or this manager can lead us out of the difficult spell that we're in? I would look at Ange, right? Obviously, you know much better than I do, but I would look at Ange, right, and the body of work that he's got at Tottenham so far. And as we discussed earlier, since game 11 last season, when you lost at your place to us, I would say that Ange has not shown any evidence to suggest that he can change slightly, that he's got a way of improving a team and making a team better. Yeah, you're going to have ups and downs as a football team, of course you are. But I look at Tottenham, I'm just thinking, I don't know what they are. I look at this game on Sunday. I'm not concerned about what we're going to do. But the reason I have maybe a few doubts is because I've got absolutely no idea what Tottenham might turn up. You might get a Tottenham that lost at Bournemouth last night, that lost against Ipswich, or you might get that Man City Tottenham on the off chance. So, but that's no way to be successful as a team in the long run. Being so Jekyll and Hyde, being you win against Man City 4-0, but then you draw against Fulham, you draw against Roma, you lose to Bournemouth. You can't have this up down up down. You'd rather have that, and that's the thing. There's no consistency, and over time,
look, we could play you on Saturday. Sorry, we could play you on Sunday, right?
You could beat us 3-0. You legitimately, you could make on your day. You could easily do that,
right? And this is the thing. I've given up now predicting Spurs results because I've got, I like you said, Spurs could come out and win the game, and we all go, well, where's that Spurs team been for the last month? Or we could come out and go, yeah, we're really, really poor. It's really, really difficult when you support a team, as you know, it's really difficult when you don't know what you are as a team. I've
been there last couple of seasons, no idea what we were.
Exactly. No idea what team is going to turn up. No idea what the tactics are going to, we know what the tactics are going to be. We've got no idea. Listen, could Spurs beat Chelsea on Sunday? Yes, we can.
Absolutely, yeah.
Will we beat Chelsea on Sunday? I don't know. I genuinely do not. I don't know. And yesterday, before the game with Bournemouth, I had 4 people on my show, the pre-match show, right? All 4 said, no idea, draw. All of them were like, don't know, can't predict it. And then the problem is, though, Spurs every now and then pull a result out the bag. Villa, City.
Yeah.
But in between pulling a result out the bag, Charlie, we're crap for 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I just don't know. No.
Yeah, mate, I don't know either. I mean, so what have you thought of Chelsea, mate? Because obviously it's been difficult the last couple of years since the takeover. We've had new owners come in. We spent a lot of money. I wasn't so sure about some of the recruitment. Weren't really sure about this project and this plan and kind of what we were doing. Had my doubts about Maresca coming in. I mean, look, I was one of those, and I get reminded sometimes in the comments section, like, oh, you wanted Pochettino to stay one more season, you clown. Why didn't you say that now? Actually, what I was saying at the time was we finished the season pretty well. I thought it would have been beneficial for us from a stability standpoint to keep Poch one more season and then see where we are at the end of that season. Subsequently, Maresca's come and he's done really well. And when the evidence changed, my opinions changed. So it doesn't mean that I'm still a clown because I felt that at the time. the evidence has changed, and my opinion has now changed on it. Was it the right thing to get rid of Pochettino? Yes, absolutely. It does look like that right now. But at the time, I thought, I'm a little bit unsure on that. Maybe it would have made a bit more sense to keep him for a season. But I'm happy to say that actually, do you know what? That was the wrong decision. That was the right decision to take.
I don't think your opinion was wrong, though, because if you think about it, from the 10th game last season to the 38th game, Chelsea were the third best team in the league.
Only City and Arsenal got more points than us.
Exactly. But look, the way I look at Chelsea now is, look, I think it's early days. I think we've always got to take things like this into account. Look, football can change in 3 games. In 3 games' time, Chelsea could have 30, I'm looking at the league table, 37 points, and you're flying and you're right up there. You're almost guaranteed Champions League at that stage, like you're flying, right? Or you could lose your next 3 and suddenly people are going, oh, Maresca's shit, right? And
this is the thing, it's fine margins.
This is why I think the phrase you used is a really good phrase there. You take the body of work. And that's why when I'm crucified for my opinion on Ange, it's not really an opinion on Ange. I've taken a body of work, 12 months. I've taken 12 months, Charlie.
Well, it's almost 18 months, really, Savva, isn't it, since you come? Nearly.
No, I know. But okay, I could do 18 months, 12 months.
Yeah, 12. Yeah.
I'm taking that whole body of work and saying, what's he done? What's he improved? Now, as it stands at the moment, Maresca's doing some nice stuff at Chelsea. I would just, I know what your fans are like. Your fans are used to success. You get really, not you, I mean your fans, you get really uppity as soon as something doesn't go right and, we demand Champions Leagues and leagues. I think with a manager like this, you are going to at some point probably have a dip. You are.
100%. We're just waiting for it. Like I was saying the other day, Savva, like it almost feels like with Chelsea, you're always like one win away, one loss away from a disaster. I'm almost like at the moment, it feels like everything's going. It's almost like it's dangerously going too well. So you're sort of waiting for that. That dip's going to come. By the way, we are going to go through a period where we will go 3, 4, 5 games without winning. We'll lose a few, and I'm not waiting for that. But that's going to tell me more about this group of players and this manager than this winning streak right now. Because when everything's going well, it's easy, isn't it? Like, but you find out really about your players and your manager when you go through difficult times. And do you know what? Maresca in this 14 games actually won my trust that now, before the Southampton game, I was outside the ground and I see the team. Bro, we've made 7 changes for this Southampton game. And I'm like, this is still a Premier League game. Have we have we made too many changes here? Get in the ground, we win 5-1. And we put in a good performance. And like now I'm at a stage of Maresca where if he does something, I'm not going to question it because he's earned my trust through what he's done so far this season.
Yeah. I think you're spot on. Listen, you find out a lot about clubs when things aren't going well. And again, let's bring that. Sorry to bring that back to Tottenham.
No, mate,
by the way,
on.
Chelsea Australia in the chat. I've got a bones pick with you. How comes you don't support Big Ange and the mighty Spurs?
Mate, he's got split allegiance, isn't he? He's a Chelsea fan, but then he's got Big Ange as well.
Look, but if you look at Ange's first 10 games, and it was the songs people were singing, we're loving Big Ange instead, Pochettino. Yeah. and the thing is, the moment we lost, I was doing a watch along for the Chelsea game with Perchie, and we're going back over a year now, and it was the first defeat, and obviously it was a very strange game, 2 sendings off. I think there was red cards, penalties.
Mate, I was there, and you went 1 up early doors. You had a second ruled out for offside. I was sitting in the stands, and I was thinking, we're going to get absolutely battered here. And then it did take a switch.
But the thing is, that game, losing that game, is the game where I turn around and said, right, okay, now we're going to see. Because what we've seen here, that high line that Ange played in the second half against 11 versus 9, right, which was absolutely the worst tactical decision in football management history, right? I thought to myself, right, let's see what you're made of now. Now we've lost, and we've lost to a big rival at our own ground. Let's see what we're made of. And from that moment onwards, he hasn't shown me personally anything where I go, you're adapting, you're changing. Other managers look at clubs and go, they're weak there, let's target them. Or they're strong here, let's solidify a little. This manager just, every game, this is who we are, mate, is famous saying, and it's not working. Since we've been in the bad times, right, with this manager, this is showing me more. You could beat Man City in a one-off game 4-0. Brilliant. Great result. Celebrate it. Yeah, great win. But that doesn't show me the character of this team.
You've got no consistency either, isn't it?
Since that game, we've not won a game, right? Since we beat Man City, everyone's going, this is a turning point, and he's learned. We've not won a game. The 2 games before City, we were absolutely battered in Galatasaray by Galatasaray. They had 28 shots against Tottenham, right?
I mean, Bournemouth had over 20 shots last night as well.
So it's 116 shots in our last 6 games.
What, conceded? That's mad. Like, if you think about it, Savva, if some of them teams had a bit better finishing or whatever, Bournemouth last night, by the way, they wouldn't have flattered them if they had won 3 or 4-0. That wouldn't have been an unfair result with the amount of chances that they did have. But I mean, you look at this game Sunday, right? And I know from a Tottenham perspective, you haven't really got any idea what you're going to expect. From a Chelsea perspective, I know what we're going to try and do, but it's as I said, I'm more worried about what Tottenham's going to turn up rather than what Chelsea's going to turn up, because I look at us and I'm confident with what we're doing. And if we just touch on centre forwards briefly, Savva, obviously you boys spent a lot of money on Dominic Solanke. Had a good season last season, but I agree with you. I said this at the time when he was signed. That's a lot of money to spend on someone who has had really one good season producing decent numbers, which was last season. He got 19 goals for a decent Bournemouth team. But as you say, if you look at his other stats, like, he wasn't really doing anything. And then you contrast it with someone like Nicholas Jackson, who we bought for 32 million quid from Villarreal, got 14 Premier League goals in his debut season last season. He's got 8 already this season. He's doing really well. And he's not just about his goal scoring, offers a lot more to the team as well. He runs in behind, he drags players out of position, creates space for the likes of Cole Palmer and whatnot. I'm sort of looking at it and I'm thinking, I'm not saying that Jackson's, well, probably I'm saying Jackson's a better player than Solanke at this point in time, but how would you compare the 2 centre forwards? One's cost you 65 mil and one's cost 32 million. And, right now, I would never have had Jackson ahead of Nkunku for Chelsea when Christopher Nkunku signed, but he's miles clear of him right now. I mean, what are your thoughts on Jackson, by the way?
Yeah, look, I mean, when Nicholas Jackson came in, I said at the time, I got the feeling that he wasn't meant to be your number one.
No, he absolutely wasn't, mate. He wasn't.
Right. But because of injuries, he was kind of thrust into this, right, you're the number one, go. And I think he was a little bit at a time like, I'm not ready for this, rabbit in headlights. But to be fair to him, he knuckled down. And I saw this morning that in 35 games, he had 19 goal contributions, which isn't too bad for your first season.
Yeah.
This year, I've seen that he's got 11 goal contributions in 13 games.
Yeah, he didn't play at all the other night. Rested him completely.
He looks like he's growing. And again, this is the difference between you sign a 27-year-old who's been there, seen it and done it. Are you hoping they're going to improve? You buy a 21-year-old, whatever he was when you bought him, and you go, well, yeah, there's a lot of room to improve because of the age. Look, I think he's done really well. Look, there's deficiencies to his game.
100%.
Sometimes I watch him and I'm like, what, brilliant, what you just did there. Other times I go, God, he's awful. But what I thought was brilliant, it was the game. Oh, God, he was played through the other day. And
Aston Villa?
He touched the ball. He dinked the ball. I think it was Leicester. It was Leicester.
Oh, yeah, but was
played back into his path. His first touch was brilliant. Put him in space and he just buried it. And I thought, yeah, you've matured, because before I think he would have snapped at that. And listen, keep him fit. Who knows what he's capable of? But listen, I think he's done well. Look, is he a Drogba? I know you lot are used to the Drogbas and the Zolas.
There was people calling him a baby Drogba, and he come out and he said himself, I'm not interested in these Drogba comparisons. I'm just going to work hard and I'm going to be Nicholas Jackson. I'm not going to be the next Didier Drogba. I'm going to be Nicholas Jackson. And that's the attitude you want from these players. And, again, what I was coming back to with Maresca, there's tangible improvements in so many players. You can see already that since he's been working under Maresca, his finishing compared to what it was last season is loads better. That goal he referenced against Leicester, 2 very good finishes against West Ham that he simply wouldn't have scored last season. His overall play, which was good anyway last year, has now gone up another level. And this is what I've been going on about with Maresca, is that, like, I'm happy with him, and he's obviously clearly a good coach because the team's getting better each week, and he's improved so many players. You know, it's not just Nicholas Jackson. You know, you look at someone like Noni Madueke, who's come on loads. He was obviously with you boys as a youngster. You look at Moises Caicedo, who's gone up a level again from what he was doing last season. Enzo Fernandez is playing brilliant football. You'd even say someone like Levi Colwell is improving, as is Fofana. You know, you go through most of the team, and everyone is making improvements. And as a fan, all right, you know you're not going to win every week, but as long as you more often than not can see that your team and your players are improving and going in the right direction, then that's enough for you to certainly be happy with. But I mean, on the flip side, Savva, what have you made of Solanke? Obviously, he's come in, he's not played every game, he's scored a few goals. I like him, but as you touched upon, how much better can he actually get? You know, what is he, 26, 27? You probably say he might be able to get a bit better, but I would say he's almost at his finished article, pretty much. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on him, and what were your thoughts when you signed him in the first place?
Look, I've always had the same. I've always had the same thought process on Dominic Solanke. I've always said he's okay. When we signed him, he's okay. Having watched him, he's okay. Right? Listen, just quickly, maximum potential. Listen, I don't know what you said. I don't block people for nothing, mate. I don't know what you said. I'll have a look. If you're blocked, I'll completely unblock you. We'll go again. But I don't just block people for nothing, my friend. I block people when they abuse. So I don't know what that's got to do with a mental wellness charity. But sorry, I just had to address that.
No, that's fine, mate. That's fine.
I don't like lies. If I do I do charity streams every 3 months, every 4 months, 24-hour charity streams. And by the way, I might have mods that blocked you for something as well, by the way. I mean, anyway, I'll have a look and I'll unblock you. How's that? Look, Dominic Solanke, he's okay. But for 65 million,
you want more than okay.
Is that the guy that our scouting team decided this is what we need? Is this what we truly need for 65 million when you look at what other clubs have done for less money? I'm looking at, if you look at the Premier League top goal scorers chart, you know, Dominic Solanke's got 4 goals. Right? Yeah. I'm looking at people like Chris Wood with 9. I'm not saying I want Chris Wood.
But someone like Brian Mbeumo at Brentford, for example.
I'd love him.
Know? Very good player.
Him and Vissa, I think, have got, is it 8 goals each that they've got in the Premier League?
They're doing really well.
Let's have a look. At the top goal scorers in the Premier League, right? If we look at it. So I'm not going to count Salah and Haaland because
no, forget that.
Palmer's up there with 9, and then you've got Wood with 9. Jackson with 8, and Mbeumo and Vissa on 8. Mateus Cunha at Wolves on 7.
Mate, he's a really good player, by the way. But the thing is, though, like, for someone like Spurs, Savva, like, why isn't he gettable? He is definitely gettable.
But probably not an Ange type play. Can't play Ange ball. And then you look, then you've got Cunha on 7, Watkins on 7. Even Jakob Larsson of Wolves is on 6. Wolves are bottom 2. And then you have to go down to, we'll go down to Dominic Solanke.
But I think even Liam Delap at Ipswich has got 6.
Yeah, Liam Delap's got 6. And then you go down to 24th in the list is Dominic Solanke. Look, I said it in the summer.
Is he your top scorer, by the way, mate, in the league this season? Or no, Son isn't he?
No, Son isn't. No, the top scorers are, if I'm not wrong, is James Maddison with 5 and Brennan Johnson with 6. He's not even in our top 2 goal scorers.
That's mad. Yeah.
His composure is shocking. Like, in front of goal, he does a lot of hard work, Charlie. Let me give him some positives. He does a lot of hard work, a lot of selfless running. But I mean, yesterday, Perchie showed me earlier the stats of yesterday. What he did in the game was just awful. Like the number of times, the number of duels he lost, tackles, the number of times he got tackled, dispossessed. His passing was crap. His shooting is awful. The number of headers he lost. Yeah, look, he's okay. That's what I'll say about it. He's okay. But when I look at the strikers we've had down the years, and I'm not comparing him to Kane. We're not going to get another Harry Kane. But even when I look at the Robbie Keanes,
on the Berbatovs and stuff, yeah.
The Jermaine Defoes, the Berbatovs, the Freddie Canutes, the Sheringhams, the Les Ferdinands. And now we've got this guy. It's underwhelming, is what I would say. It's underwhelming.
No, mate, I would agree. By the way, guys, we need to smash the like button. Over 120 in the building, only 48 likes, which is poor, people. So make sure you smash that like button. Let's get this up to 100 likes. Should be light work. So yeah, it really helps the channel out, guys. And yeah, it'll take you seconds and it's free to do. So please do smash that like button. Let's get this up to the 100 likes mark. Someone in the chat can let me know when we get there, but please make sure you're smashing that like. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new round here as well. Savva, Spurs midfield at the moment. Obviously, you've got no Rodrigo Bentancur. Obviously, he's suspended for what happened over the summer with his comments. Look at James Maddison, Sarr, Bissouma in there. What are you making of the midfield at Tottenham at the moment? Because I really like James Maddison, by the way, but I look at him as a bit of a hot and cold player. Sometimes he's going to turn up, sometimes he doesn't. Perhaps Sarr, there's been a lot of good things about him, but then there's some not so good things. I don't really know what's happened to Bissouma. What do you make of your midfield and the structure of it at the moment? You've got some talented youngsters in obviously Lucas Bergvall and Archie Gray. I don't think are playing that much at the moment, but I mean, what do you make of your setup in the middle of the park?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because, again, I don't rate the manager's tactics in any way, shape or form. And I don't think his tactics get the best out of any of them. Look, but I think we've got some good midfielders, but not enough that I go overboard about them. Not enough that I go overboard about them and expect great things from them, if I'm going to be brutally honest. Look, Bentancur, again, this is the worst saying in football. This is how you know when a player is hit and miss. On his day, Bentancur's very good.
Yeah.
Right? On his day, Bissouma is excellent. On his day, Sarr is very good. Problem is...
How often's their day?
Well, this is the question. Now, James Maddison, for me, we play inverted fullbacks, right? And for me, all we do is push these fullbacks into the midfield position. So you've got Porro, Udogie, Sarr, Bissouma, all in the position where Maddison operates, right? You've got wingers that invert and Solanke dropping. So when Maddison gets the football for Spurs, he looks up, everyone's within 5-10 yards of him. He don't want that. He's a playmaker. He wants, like we said earlier with Cole Palmer, he wants to look up and go, right, I've got someone out wide right. Let's just say Madueke or Sancho. I've got Neto out wide left. I've got Nicholas Jackson making a run for me through the middle. And I've got space to operate in. Maddison gets the ball. We're expecting him to drop deep and tackle back and do all this kind of stuff, which that's not his game. And when he does get the ball, you can see him looking up and like, where's my options? So listen, I'm not saying James Maddison's the greatest player I've ever seen, but I do think that this manager makes a lot of these players look a lot worse than they are.
Yeah, no, mate, that's fair. And that's always the big question, isn't it? Like, and as I was saying earlier, when we had Potter and Poch, I was actually questioning how good these players are. But then when you put a manager in who's competent in Maresca, you can actually see, you know what, these guys are good. So I look at Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham have got bad players, by the way. They're squad and their players. Yes, there's deficiencies and yes, there's areas that need to be addressed. But your squad is much better than 10th in the Premier League, by the way, at this point in time. So I get your point where you're like, well, actually, with a different manager and a different setup, these players that people are starting to think, well, actually, how good are they? Could probably show their potential when they're set up in a different system, potentially that maybe gets, you know, a bit more out of them. But I mean, I just don't know when I look at that midfield. I really like James Maddison. I think he's been a bit underwhelming, to be perfectly honest. Against Man City, brilliant. But I just think, generally speaking, For everyone said it was a great deal at 40 million quid, but I look at James Maddison, and I'm not saying he's been a failure at Tottenham, by the way, because he absolutely hasn't. But I would say it's been slightly on the underwhelming side.
I mean, listen, you could replace the word James Maddison with any Spurs player, and we could have the same conversation. This is the problem.
I hear you.
I don't think any of them have been. I think all of them have been underwhelming. You know, I mean, I look at Christian Romero that gets amazing plaudits. A lot of the time, I watch him and think, why are you rated so highly? Porro and Adogi can't defend for Toffee. You know, Basuma, hit and miss. Kulusevski has brilliant games, and then games like last night where he gave the ball away 31 times.
Would you say he's your best player this season, Kulusevski? I always watch him and someone that I really like and someone that I think has had a good impact on Tottenham this season. Would you say he's up there with your best player so far this season?
Yeah. Look, I think he has been our better player this season. I don't think that's saying a lot for the season we've had.
No, that's fair.
But there's been a lot of games I've watched him. I thought, like, in the game against Roma, he couldn't stop giving the ball away. Last night, 31 times he was caught on the ball, and then they counter-attack. Look, I think all the Spurs players, none of them for me go into that bracket of quality. There's some good players in there. Let me put it like this, Charlie. If I woke up tomorrow and I had a text from you telling me that one of the Spurs players had been sold, not one of them would bother me. One.
That's kind of that's mad, isn't it? When you put it that way, that's kind of it's a bit damning, that, isn't it? When you sort of think of it like that. But I mean, oh, by the way, goalkeeper Savva, Vicario obviously out with an ankle injury. I know there's not a lot of fans of Fraser Forster. How much of a concern is him being in goal? Has that changed anything? So it doesn't really change anything.
He's been our man of the match the last 3 games. He's been, again, last night, kept us in it. Roma kept us in it. Fulham kept us in it. Listen, you don't want Fraser Forster as your number one. You know what he is. We know what he is, right? He can't get down very quickly. You know, he is a backup goalkeeper. But you have to give credit where it's due. The last 3 games, he's made some stunning saves to stop us being embarrassed even more than we have been. So, look, when people say, oh, Vicario's out, yeah, it's out. But when that goalkeeper comes in as your man of the match for 3 games in a row,
that's a big problem.
That's a massive problem. It shows you that there's so many problems at Tottenham at the moment. There's so many. Look, we'll win a game soon. Our next 3 games, I think, our next 3 games, Jesus, our next 4 is Chelsea.
Yeah.
Let me double check that I've got this right. This is hilarious, right? Spurs fixtures, right? So Tottenham's next 4 games are Chelsea at home.
You got Europa League?
Huh?
Yeah. You got Europa League as well next week.
Yeah. We've got Chelsea at home Sunday. Rangers away in the Europa League next Thursday.
Mate, can you imagine if he loses that, by the way, at Ibrox, being an ex-Celtic manager?
Absolutely. Followed by Southampton away in the league.
Yep.
Followed by Man U at home in the League Cup quarterfinal. Followed by Liverpool at home. So we've got Liverpool, United, Rangers, Chelsea, and Southampton.
Mate, I'll be honest, Savva, that could be Tottenham job defining for him, potentially.
I hope so.
But I mean, Savva, just on the League Cup, by the way, very briefly, I know this is a slight detour, but obviously Tottenham fans would take any trophy right now because it's been so long. How important is that League Cup game against United for you at home? Do you think that's like one of your biggest games of the season?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a massive game. It's a massive game. Look, is it a good time to be playing Man United with a new manager, trying out a new system? Possibly. Is it a bad time to play them with a new manager? Possibly. Which Spurs will turn up? Don't know. Look, the way I look at it is this, is if we get through that, the likelihood is you're probably going to get a Liverpool or an Arsenal over 2 legs.
Yeah.
Right, and look, for me, I know a lot of fans say, oh, I'll happily finish 15th and win a League Cup. No. Just because you win a League Cup doesn't mean you have to finish in the bottom half of the table. No.
Yeah.
Not for me. Not for me. So, look, We deserve a trophy as fans. I truly believe that. We've been through so much shit, Charlie, and I know Chelsea fans won't know what that's like over the last 20 years.
It's mad though, mate. Like, you boys have been like so long without a trophy. Our last trophy was like, I think the proper one was Champions League in 2021, and there's Chelsea fans that are like pulling their hair out that it's been 3 seasons with no trophy. I can't imagine how you boys are feeling.
Yeah, well, look, this is the problem with some people just get used to it. Look, you know, when I was growing up, Chelsea weren't the team that won trophies. Man City weren't a team that won loads of trophies. I'm not saying none, but it wasn't to the level you've had. And that's why when I've seen Chelsea fans over the last 2 years losing their minds, it's like, okay, you've had 20 years of dominance. You've had 20 years of winning everything in football, right?
Yeah.
But there's only X amount of trophies, Charlie, that can be won every year, right? You've got the league.
I suppose for Tottenham, you're not going to win the Premier League, so you're looking at League Cup, FA Cup, and a possibly Europa League. So you've got 3 chances to win a trophy, right? And the League Cup is probably the easiest one to win out of the lot. So
it is depending on who you get in the semi. I mean, look, first of all, you've got to negotiate Man United, right? We've got to negotiate that game, right? That, for me, feels like a game where we'll be well up for it, right? Do you know what I mean? Under the floodlight, feels like we'll be up for it. So let's assume Spurs negotiate Man United. Right, we're through. I think then, if I'm not wrong, and hang on, I'll tell you what. Let me not guess. Let's have a look at this leagues. Let's have a look at the EFL Cup. So you've got Liverpool v Southampton in their quarterfinal
at Anfield.
At Southampton, I believe. At Southampton.
Yeah, okay. So it's a little bit tricky, but yeah, not really.
Yeah. Newcastle at home to Brentford, and Brentford are dreadful away.
Yeah, 1 point away from home all season.
Right. Arsenal at home to Palace.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah.
Right. And then Spurs at home to United. So let's assume, shall we, that the 4 big ones win there. Right. I'm sure there might please fans of smaller clubs. I'm sorry. Let's just assume, right? Let's assume Spurs beat Man U, Arsenal beat Palace, Newcastle beat Brentford, and Liverpool beat Southampton. I don't want to play Liverpool or Arsenal over 2 legs. I don't.
No.
Newcastle for me.
Newcastle,
a little bit more hit and miss, Newcastle. But again, Newcastle, imagine second leg.
But I was going to say, Savva, Tottenham's record at St James's recently, you probably don't fancy us. You probably don't fancy that one.
Mate, but this is the thing. So when people are saying that's our best chance of winning a trophy, look, let's be fair, to win it, we've got to negotiate Man U, either one of those other clubs over 2 legs, and then which other one of the others gets to the final. So if we win it, we deserve it. It would be Man City, Man United, Newcastle, Liverpool, or Newcastle, Liverpool, or Arsenal, and then Newcastle, Liverpool, or Arsenal in the final. So if we win it, fully deserved, hats off, well done, Ange, brilliant, right? But people talk about like the Europa League. I think we've been absolutely shit in the Europa League.
What have you had? Lost to Galatasaray, draw against Roma. What have your other games? We haven't really kept across too many of them. But
so we've played 5 games in the Europa League, right? We beat Karabag, who are going to be one of the weakest teams in the Europa League.
They're dog shit. Yeah.
We beat Ferencváros away, who were we scraped through Ferencváros. They were awful.
That's a Hungarian team, isn't it?
Yeah. We scraped past AZ Alkmaar at home by a penalty. Then when we played Galatasaray, we were given a footballing lesson. And then Roma, who are in no form in any competition anywhere, came to our ground, looked really good, and they got a draw against us.
Fuck's sake.
Mate, and now we've got Rangers. Now, Rangers, we, again, should be beating Rangers. But, look, I don't know. I don't know, mate. I feel like at the moment this manager's living off the goodwill of 2 Man City wins this year. I think he's living off Man City in the cup and Man City 4-0 in the league. I think at the moment that's what everyone's concentrating on. The bigger picture for me is that I just don't trust or like this manager. Not as a human, not as a human.
In terms of what he's doing, guys. Only 66 likes still, 150 in the building. We need to be doing better than that. Let's get this to 100 likes. We're going to round out in the next 5-10 minutes. So make sure you're smashing that like button and please subscribe if you're new round here as well. Let's run it up, guys. Let's get this to 100 likes. It should be easy. It's poor effort so far, but we can redeem ourselves in the last few minutes. Savva, just last sort of 5-10 minutes on the game, mate.
Yep.
How are you from a Chelsea fan? How can we expect Tottenham to approach this one?
Oh, I mean, look, this is the double-edged sword. What? Okay, I'll tell you what you can guarantee.
Yeah, what are we definitely going to see from Tottenham?
You can definitely see from Tottenham that we will play inverted fullbacks in midfield, and we will leave oceans of space for your wingers to run into. What you can also see is that we will, when we go forward, we will flood forward with 7 or 8 men, right? So we will try and get bodies into the box like Brennan Johnson at the back post to try and score goals. What you will also see from us is we will give the ball away a hell of a lot in the midfield, right? And we will leave ourselves exposed. What I can't tell you is whether or not that will be the good version of all those things from Tottenham.
Yeah.
Or the bad version of all those things from Tottenham. Because sometimes we look bloody brilliant, right? In patches. Other times, we look horrible. So I can't tell you which one you're going to get, but the style of play won't change. The style of play will be gung-ho, fullbacks inverting into midfield. And Charlie and everyone in your chat, watch on Sunday. When you're watching it, think of me. Not the whole night.
Mate, I'll be in that away end Sunday, and I'll be hopefully enjoying myself. But I just don't know.
But think of me when you see the space these tactics allow behind our fullbacks.
Mate, we've got the players right in the pace with Neto, the pace of Jackson, whether it's Jadon Sancho, if it's Noni Madueke, whatever it is. Mate, if you leave space, by the way,
I know, I'm so worried.
Those guys are going to have an absolute field day. And Jackson, when you've got someone with the passing range of Enzo Fernandez that can pick those players out, even Levi Colwell from centre-back has got a really good range of passing on him. If Ange has not worked out that he needs to not leave space there, that's a big, big problem for you.
He never, ever, it doesn't matter. Every team that we play against exploits us down the fullbacks. Fulham did it brilliantly with Kenny Tete, Iwobi.
He's Kenny Tete's not even that good, is he? Really, like in comparison to a Pedro Neto or a Madueke. So you think of like if you're doing that with that caliber of player, when you up the caliber of player, it's going to be even worse, arguably.
Well, Robinson and Tete from fullback just got in behind us, either overlapping or underlapping. That's my worry. I can't go into games confident. I can't, because I know how bad we are at the back. Don't be fooled by the number of goals we've conceded. We will give you multiple chances.
Set pieces, not good defensively.
Sometimes good. What is it Gattuso said?
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. Yeah.
Mate, I'd love to sit here and go, do you know what? We're going to bat it. I'd love to come on with chest and say, you know what? Nah, you guys have not got a chance. But look, we've not won in 3 games at White Hart Lane now, so our home form started to dip. Does that mean you'll pile it on, or are the odds in favour of, well, surely we've got to win a home game soon? I genuinely don't know, mate. I'm not going to be negative about our chances or positive. I don't know. I just don't know anymore.
No, mate, I hear you. From a Chelsea perspective, what players are you worried about? I mean, I know Cole Palmer's the obvious one. And anyone else? I mean, I suppose there's quite a few to pick from at the moment. I mean, Caicedo's been absolutely outstanding. He's the best midfielder in the league right now. Enzo Fernandez has played really well the last few games. Apart from Robert Sanchez,
the biggest thing that worries me. The biggest thing that worries me. Of course, we could talk about Cole Palmer. Of course, it is, as I've just said, it will be those wide men getting in behind Neto, Madueke, Sancho, with Jackson's pace as well. And the likes of Enzo and Palmer feeding them. That I'm so worried. And what I think you guys will probably do is we'll probably have more possession than you, right?
Yeah.
We tend to be quite good with possession, right? What that means is, though, that any decent manager figures out how to beat Ange and will hit us on the counter time and time again. That's what worries me. It's the counters with Sancho, with Madueke, with Nkunku, with all Neto, all of these players. That's my biggest worry.
Yeah, mate, I hear you. I think my biggest worry is just not knowing what Tottenham's going to turn up. It's that sense of the unknown, because I'm not worried about what we're going to do, because I know what we're going to do. I've seen the evidence of what we're going to do. I know what we're good at, and I know what we're going to do. But the only two things that I'm slightly worried about is what Tottenham is going to turn up. And then secondly, for as well as we've done this season so far, Savva, we still don't have a win against a traditional big six side. We lost against City, we lost against Liverpool, we didn't beat Man United, and we didn't beat Arsenal. So that's 4 attempts against big sides. And look, Tottenham, whatever people think, do fall into a traditional
mid-table, mate.
Side. I know you're mid-table right now, but you generally speaking fall into that bracket of a traditional top 6 club, right? We don't have a win against one of them this season.
Yeah.
You know, I think our last win away from home against a big 6 team, I think, was at your place last year. We didn't win at the Etihad, we didn't win at Anfield, we didn't win at the Emirates, we didn't win at Old Trafford, any of those places last year. I think, mate, the last time we won, I'm pretty certain that the last time we won a big game away from home was at your place last year, last season.
These are things that give me, listen, I'm 50-50 with this one. I think there's a lot of things where I go, well, we're due a win, we're due a home performance, we're due a good performance. Chelsea haven't beaten anyone massive away yet. Great. And then I look on the other side and go, well, hang on, we're playing shit. Our home form's rubbish. We don't like playing against pace, and Chelsea have got plenty of it. Mate, I couldn't call. Please don't ask me to predict a score.
I won't give you a score, mate. Just last couple of things briefly, Savva. Have you boys got a defensive crisis in centre back? Because I know Ben Davies went off last night. Is Romero or Van der Ven likely to be back? So we're looking at what, Dragusin and what, Archie Gray at centre back, maybe.
Yeah. So I think this morning Ange said that Romero is back in training. I think he's going to train definitely tomorrow, he said. So he said, we'll see. What we'll do is we'll bring Romero back way too soon.
He'll go off injured like in the first half.
Yeah. So look, listen again. We didn't want to buy any centre backs in the summer. We didn't want to buy defenders. We didn't want to buy midfielders. We just bought loads of kids and Solanke. So look, yes, I think if we are left with Dragusin and Archie Gray, I think you're going to have a field day. If I'm on, look, bless him. I've got nothing against Archie Gray, but he's not
a centre back, is he?
No.
Like, so I've seen, because I know at Leeds he played at right back sometimes. But he's generally a midfield player. I mean, I don't know how much time he's played in midfield for you. Probably not an awful lot. It's a strange one. But I mean, yeah, look, if it's Dragusin and obviously Archie Gray at centre back, with the greatest of respect to that, if you're Chelsea, you've got to be licking your lips at that. With being top scorers in the league, the amount of goals that we're scoring, that's got to be a big plus. Obviously, that does not mean you're going to win the game, and it doesn't mean you should be like thinking it's a foregone conclusion. But that's a big boost heading into a game where you've probably got what, a fourth or fifth choice pairing at the back. I mean, and again, it goes back to what we said at the top of the show, kind of to round out Savva, is the problems probably came from the transfer market in the summer. You know, I'm sure Tottenham fans knew they needed defenders, and you didn't get them. So almost look at it, I'm just like, well, is it really a surprise that any of this has actually happened? But you know, it's unfortunately where Spurs find themselves. But yeah, for Chelsea, I'm really looking for that statement win. I'm not saying like by a load of goals, but I'm looking for a big win at an away ground against a top 6 side that we don't have this season. That's the only thing that's missing this season, because we're playing good football, we're scoring goals, the fans are behind everyone. You know, we've improved a lot since the start of the season. The one thing we don't have is a win against a big team. If we can get that on Sunday, then absolutely we could be onto something good. I mean, just very briefly, a couple of sentences, Savva. I mean, people are talking about it. I'm not getting drawn into it. Do you think Chelsea are in a title race? Seven points behind Liverpool? No, but I agree.
No, I just think you haven't got enough for this season. Again, look, you could be. I want to see what happens to you lot when you go through a difficult spell. What happens if you lose 2 in a row? You know, I think I want to see that first from you lot before I talk about title races. Look, are you, are you, listen, I don't know, you win your next 5, then you are, right? But
Yeah.
I just feel there's something missing. I don't think you're ready yet. I could be massively wrong.
Yeah, no,
Massively wrong.
I'm not scared to say. I'm not saying I'm scared to say it, but I just think it's too early still. But having said that, if we come through our next games, we beat you. We've then got Brentford at home. If we win that, and we've got Everton away as our next 3 in the league: Spurs, Brentford, Everton. Right, 3 games that in theory you've got more than enough to win. If we were to win all those, then there comes a point where you can't keep playing it down. So maybe I'll change my mind if we get to sort of January, February, and the gap's maybe 5 or 6 points. Then I might rethink my thoughts. But right now, as well as we're doing, I still don't think we're ready for that yet. And because a lot of this squad, Savva, their biggest game was the Carabao Cup final last season in their careers. Like we haven't got players that have been there and experienced it.
Look. As I said, you know, if you win, it all depends what other clubs do as well. You know, if you win your next 3, and teams around you are not winning the next 3, suddenly you're right up there with Liverpool. You don't know. It's the same thing when people say now, "Are City out of the title race?"
No,
City are capable of going, right, should we win 15 games in a row now?
They're the only team, by the way, Savva, that can actually do that in the league. No one else is doing that in the league.
Exactly. So look, but again, it's, you know, if I look at it, you would say, oh, well, Man City, 9 points off the top, it's gone. But suddenly, Liverpool drop 2 games. City and Chelsea win 2. Suddenly, it's very tight. But this is why no leagues are decided in November or December. When whoever's in a title race will know come the end of January, beginning of February. If you're there or thereabouts, you're in a title race. If you're 15 points off it, you're not. And Spurs fans did this last year. 10 games in, we're in a title race.
I've seen the videos all over YouTube. Spurs in a title race. Oh, big Ange, unbelievable. Yeah, no, I hear it. Yeah, right, we're going to round it out there, guys. Savva, thanks so much for your time, mate. So generous as always. Pleasure to catch up. Let the people know where to find you, bro.
Yeah, you can find me at Football Heritage TV. I am closing down. I'm into the last sort of 500 of trying to get to 15K.
Oh, guys, come on.
Yeah, it's you Charlie, you know what it's like when you first start YouTube and you think you know you're never ever going to get to 1,000, and then when you do, you think I'm never going to get to 5.
That first 1,000 is a mad slog. It takes so long.
It's madness, and then it starts to roll a bit. But yeah, 15K for me is just a bit of a vanity kind of project.
Yeah, no, I hear you, mate. I hear you.
Honest. But yeah, if anyone does want to subscribe, that'd be amazing. Look, one thing I'll say you'll get from my channel is I'm not a biased fan. I'll always try and be as open and as honest as possible. But yeah, listen, if people don't want to, then don't. So,
yeah,
thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. Guys, Savva's channel is tagged in the title. Go over there, subscribe to him, help him get to 15K. Loads of great content on there. Top guy, loads of stuff. So make sure you do go and subscribe, people. For myself, I'll be back tomorrow, probably with a match preview for the Chelsea game, looking at it from more in depth from a Chelsea perspective. Make sure you stay tuned in for that one. Smash the likes, guys. Get this to 100 likes on your way out. We're literally 15 away from that now. So please do smash that like button on the way out. Subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll catch you again in another one.
Super chats.
Oh yeah, super chats quickly. Oh, but there we've got these coming. Yeah, Savva, this is someone that comes in your chat, been in my chat a few times. Yep, great. Thanks very much for the donation. Appreciate it. Yeah, no problem. What else have we got going on here? We have best F1 go-karting. Fantastic. Maybe I'll check that out pre-match. Why not? Yes, big up, Brian. Thank you for the donation, brother. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'd absolutely love that. I would love it, but I'll take any win right now. But yeah, anyway, guys, we're out of here. Cheers.